Captain Mike Anderson here. Let me show you my favorite tackle store, Gator Gyms. They have everything you need to fish with a massive inventory, including liquidations and great deals every day. Gator Gyms' friendly staff can help you pick just the right gear in a no-pressure environment. You can even test a rod and reel at their on-site casting pond or grill up your catch of the day in their picnic area. So come to Gator Gyms where they make fish stories come true.
Hey guys, Captain Dylan Hubbard here at the new and improved Hubbard's Marina Studios. Thanks for tuning in tonight and joining us for another episode of our live stream show. Off the Hook with Captain Hubbard is the name of the show, and we have officially rebranded, as you can see. Had a little bit of technical difficulties, if you will, last weekend, but we are back up and running now, so thanks for tuning in and hanging out with us tonight. We appreciate everybody out there for joining us yet again. Big shout out to those of you who have sent stars tonight thus far. Larry White, Joe Vito, Michelle Bryan, Craig Robinson, Barry Long. Appreciate all of you guys, and especially Rick Rogers with 1,000 stars. Thank you so much, buddy. Now, also want to give a shout out to our friends over there at Gator Gyms Tackle. If you haven't been over to visit, you are missing out. Check them out, 3301 Pinellas Point Drive South in St. Petersburg. That is a really, really cool place. You don't want to miss out. If you haven't been over to see our friends at Gator Gyms, make sure you do so. Again, 3301 Pinellas Point Drive South. They're responsible for bringing you this show. This show is brought to you by our friends over there at Gator Gyms. Stop by and tell them Hubbard's Marina sent you. We'd appreciate it. Also, Terry Feather, Taryn Duong, appreciate you guys for those stars. Thanks for dropping in with those. If you're watching on YouTube or Instagram, stars are just a way for you to show your support, help us to do more cool stuff, like build out new studio sets and keep changing it up, stay ahead of the times. So appreciate everybody who is showing your support through sending stars on Facebook. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We're up over 8,000 subscribers now. Want to keep that growing. So make sure you subscribe to us over on YouTube. If you're watching on Instagram, you can move over to Instagram.com on your phone's browser, find the live video, then you can turn your phone sideways. You'll be able to see the full screen. So keep that in mind if you're watching on Instagram. You're not going to see the full screen in this new beautiful set unless you go over to Instagram.com on your phone's browser. Then you can see the full screen. Nick Wyatt, appreciate those 200 stars. Thank you, D. Beers, for those 500 stars. We appreciate it. Now, also, don't forget to comment and tell us where you're watching from. We appreciate it. Also, give the video a like for us. Give it a thumbs up on YouTube. Double tap on Instagram. Don't forget to follow us on Trovo and Twitch. Subscribe to our channels over there as well. We also have a LinkedIn page, TikTok, Snapchat, neighborhood app, the Fish Brain app. We got it all, so make sure you follow us on all those different social medias. We appreciate it. Tony Barnes, appreciate those 200 stars, and Nick Nieves, always hitting hard with those 1,200. Appreciate you. And the Sunshine Skyway Fishing Club. Also, guys, if you want to win the free trips tonight, we're going to be giving away a lot of free trips tonight because of the issues last week. So make sure if you want to win some free trips tonight, you got to comment at least one time. You don't actually have to comment one time. You can comment anything you want, but you have to at least comment once on the Hubbard's Marina Facebook stream. So you can watch on YouTube, Trovo, Twitch, Instagram, wherever you want, but you have to comment at least once on Facebook on the Hubbard's Marina stream. Christine and Pete, appreciate you guys. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Thanks for those stars. Also, sit back and relax because the show is on. If you want to win the free trips, you got to comment once, then you got to watch live. If you're called as one of the lucky winners, you got 5 minutes or less to claim the free trip by texting us at that phone number right down there. Real important, don't miss out on winning one of those free trips because you were not paying attention, you were not watching live. So you got to watch live, you got to claim it quickly. James McCallum, appreciate those stars, buddy. Thank you very much. All right, so with that, we're going to get into some photos. We're going to start with our inshore photos, work our way near shore and offshore, and show you guys what we've been catching around the area. And then we're going to go into the weather a little bit. Then we're going to get into your questions. Remember, you can text your questions live to the phone number on your screen to get them answered during the show. Dan the Fishman right here with a nice Jack Crevalle. They are moving around the area right now. Dan fishes pretty exclusively pretty close to John's Pass, so you know those Jack Crevalle are in our area. And Black Drum, Bay Area Bridges, super thick. My buddy Danny Trevino from Salt Strong sent this over. Him and his other half were out there fishing in an undisclosed bridge in Tampa Bay. And he sent me a photo of his side scan imaging from his boat. Literally hundreds of black drum. They caught as many as they wanted for about 30 minutes and headed home. They could have sat there for an hour and smashed black drum. They are thick right now, schooled up around Bay Area bridges. That's Danny right there. A lot of mackerel have moved back into the mouth of Tampa Bay along our beaches, around our local fishing piers. A lot of bait in the area right now has brought back those mackerel. Sandy King, appreciate it. Thank you for those stars. Our buddy Donnie Gwynn with some nice redfish. He's always out there slaying the redfish, our friend over at Salt Strong. Another redfish from a Salt Strong member. The Salt Strong guys are pulling in the reds around those mangrove shorelines, residential dock lines. This is Wader Dave. Does a lot of wading charters, so you can charter him to wade through the Bay Area waters, catch some redfish, snook, trout, whatever you want. He's a pretty cool dude and pretty affordable inshore fishing because you're not fishing from a boat, you're wading. Pretty interesting approach. This is our good buddy Dylan, and he stops by for shrimp all the time and crushes a bunch of redfish, snook, trout around the area from a paddleboard. This is another nice redfish from the mangroves. This one was from a local boat ramp. Donnie Gwynn again from the flats of Tampa Bay. Lots of redfish around. Mangrove shorelines, oyster bars, residential dock lines, as you can see right here behind our buddy Aaron. Lots of residential dock lines around those mangrove shorelines and flats producing those redfish. Snook action has been going well in the pass. Aaron here with another nice snook from John's Pass from the Hubbard's Marina dock. Dylan's catching them out on the beaches, in the pass, and around the flats. Another nice snook there on soft plastics. Another one from a local boat ramp. This one's from Anna Maria Island, right near the little cut there. Lots of good snook action out on the beaches as well, looking for those little troughs that run parallel with the beach. Fishing that little trough, it might as well be a snook highway. Trout action has been a little slow. This one right from one of our local passes. A lot of trout moving through the pass. Hard to get them chewing, but find those little sandy drop-offs. You can get them around some shaded areas underneath bridges, dock lights, bridge lights at night. Good action for them too. Out on the edges of the flats, deeper flats have been going well for the trout. These are 2 weeks put together, so I said the trout bite's not going too well, and then I showed you a bunch of photos of trout. Wasn't really expecting to be that many because, again, these are 2 weeks combined. So we didn't get to show you the photos last week because of the internet issues, and that's why we have a little bit more than I expected. But let's get right into nearshore and offshore photos. Remember, tonight we're doing double giveaways. So we've got two 5-hour half days for 2 guests, 2 10-hour all days for 2 guests, and 2 39 hours for 1 guest to give away tonight. So we got to give away a lot of stuff tonight. So before we get into offshore photos, we're going to give away our first trip. And we're going to start off strong, give away a 39-hour fishing trip. So let's see who won a 39-hour fishing trip for 1 guest. That's right. First trip out of the gate, we're giving away 39-hour trip. Winner is James McCollum. Congratulations, James McCollum. You got 5 minutes or less to claim that free trip by texting us at this phone number right here, your full home address. We still got a 39-hour to give away, and we've got tons of other trips too. We're only giving away one Salinity Gear gift pack, but we still have that to give away tonight as well. We're not doing double giveaways for someone else's product. I don't have the authority to double that one down, but we are going to give away our Salinity Gear gift pack tonight too. So double 5-hour half days for 2, double 10-hour all days for 2, and another 39-hour plus our Salinity Gear gift pack coming up. So stay tuned. There's a lot more to come. All right, let's work our way offshore and show you guys what we've been seeing nearshore and offshore. Fat red snapper. It is one of the best times of year because we're super busy and it's super hot and red snapper's about to end. I love red snapper season. It brings out a bunch of people that we really don't see through the year, and they show up for that short red snapper season and they fish hard, like our good buddy Roger from up in Georgia. I love to hate him. No, we're good friends. He's a good guy, but he cracks me up and we give each other a hard time. But guys like that, gals like that, we don't see them a lot through the year, but they show up in force for red snapper season. And now they're going back home for a while. We won't see those type of people for a while. It's going to slow down for us, and it gets a lot lighter around here. Kids are back to school now. Trips are starting to have lighter loads. So red snapper season ends Thursday, end of day, and then it's going to go kind of slow it down a little bit on us. So we're definitely going to see a little bit of a slowdown. And that's why red snapper season is about to end. But we've got plenty of red grouper to go catch, scamp grouper, gag grouper, mangrove snapper. We got tons of fish to go out there and catch. Blackfin tuna are around. The mangrove snapper fishing has been hot, and we've had to kind of avoid the mangrove snapper area that we really want to fish because we have to hunt these red snapper, and the red snapper weren't close in that area. We caught a bunch of mangroves. So we're excited for red snapper season to end. We're really going to be able to dial in on those mangrove snapper, those gag grouper, scamp grouper, red grouper. So we're excited for mangrove or red snapper season to end for that reason. It slows down a little bit, a little lighter loads. We can all take a deep breath, spread out a little bit, and really dial in on the fish that we want to go target and have a little bit of fun. So looking forward to it. Plus, red grouper ends August 29th at the end of the day. So August 29th is the last day to get those keeper red grouper for the 2023 year. So we're going to be really focused on those red grouper through the end of August, and then really, really hyper focused on gags, scamp, and mangroves once those red grouper end. Because we still got gags, scamp, mangrove snapper, yellowtails, triggerfish, and many more to catch even after red snapper and red grouper close. So still plenty of fish to catch through the end of the year. Great time to get out there on the water. The bite is hot. The weather's a little bit hot, but we're catching a lot of fish. So definitely get a chance, get out here, and let's go fishing. As you can see, the photos just won't quit. Big, big scamp grouper, big mangroves, solid gags, and of course, plentiful red snapper for now. Again, that season ends end of day, August 18th on red snapper. We still got triggerfish open. They haven't announced a closure on triggers. I would imagine triggerfish are probably going to go through September into October, maybe even into November. They increased the triggerfish quota substantially. So we should see those triggerfish stay open a while, I would guess. I haven't really heard any rumors or any news on a potential closure for the triggerfish. So pretty good chances that they're going to stay open for a while and give us a chance at something else to catch. Man, we got a lot of photos to sort through tonight. Look at Splash. I wish Splash held every fish for every photo. He just makes those fish. He just knows how to hold them. That's what it is. That's what it is. Always makes them look good, doesn't he? Great time to get out there on the water. And fishing is hot, as you can see. This is probably one of my favorite photos that's been taken. Can we make that full screen and get me out of there? We can, right? We have a button for that. Yes. Look at that beautiful photo. It is just, that's a magazine cover photo. Absolutely gorgeous. Our friend Brad Peterson from up in the Panhandle with a absolutely spectacular yellowtail snapper. Beautiful, beautiful fish. And gorgeous photo by Captain Dave Singletary up on the bow of the Florida with a gorgeous little, we're still in picture here, Josh. There we go. On the bow of the Florida with that alien head. That's actually a JYG. I forget what they call it, what kind of head they call it. But a gorgeous, gorgeous slow pitch jig in the background. Just such great color to that photo. Really wanted to highlight it. End of that row. There we go. All right, so back to the photos. Sorry about that, guys. Got distracted by my favorite photo I've seen in a while. Dan Netto and a fat triggerfish. Awesome fish. We're seeing a lot of those nice triggerfish, some big porgies, almacos, vermilions, gags. It's prime time to get out there, guys, and we've got a 39-hour out there right now, hopefully doing well like our 44-hour just did. 10-hour all days, catching a few nice keeper red grouper. We're catching a lot of lanes, vermilions, and seeing, of course, plentiful white grunts or gray snapper, and also the porgies too. So nearshore fishing's going well. You can see here solid lane snapper, some nice big sea bass mixed in. So great time to get out there nearshore as well. 10-hour all day nearshore private fishing charters, all good options. Some nice solid mangroves even in nearshore waters a little shallower. Appreciate those stars, Nina McCormick. Thank you very much. All right, so we showed you the photos. We showed you a little bit about what we're catching now. We're going to show you a little bit about the weather and what's coming up. But before we get into weather, we're going to give away another free trip. Let's do a 10-hour all day. 10-hour all day for 2 guests. 10-hour all day for 2 guests. Let's see who the lucky winner is for that 10-hour all day for 2 guests. Remember, if you're picked as a lucky winner, you only have a second to text us at that phone number in the corner and claim that free trip. Congratulations, Robert Bush. You got 5 minutes or less to text us your full home address to claim that free trip, Robert. So make sure you do it. Don't miss out. So let's get into the weather and talk a little bit about what's going on currently with the weather, kind of what we're looking forward to. So popping over to hubbardsmarina.com, the coolest website on the internet. If I do say so myself, I can't see the top of the screen there. There it is. All right, so fishing trips. Under fishing trips, scroll down to weather links. On our weather links page of hubbardsmarina.com, again, coolest website on the internet. Go to the wind finder forecast. We're going to start there, and we're going to scroll down to the 5 and 10-hour forecast area to start. And look at that. Far as the eye can see, some dark blues, and that means moderate winds, 10 knots or less, or 10 miles an hour or less, according to Wind Finder, because we're setting mile an hour right now. So literally around 10 to 12 or less all the way through as far as this entire work week is concerned. And then potentially a little bit of disturbance through Saturday night, Sunday, but really doesn't make the seas during the day pick up. Get a little bit more of a potential for some higher winds, but not until next week. And that's way too far in advance to look. Especially this time of year, things can change a lot. So over the course of the next 5 days, 1 foot or less, 1.5 foot or less, 10 miles an hour or less. It does not get any better, guys. Absolutely spectacular weather-wise. we're going to go back to the weather links page. The first one underneath the wind finder forecast is actually the wind direction map. I wanted to point this out to you guys. This is something that we got to kind of watch. Not the greatest of situations. You can see a little bit of a west-northwest wind. That means the wind is coming in from the Gulf, pushing at the state. You can see that's going to kind of persist through the week into Monday, kind of a west-southwest. And then Tuesday, still kind of out of the west. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday finally starts to shift a little bit. So we've got 6 days of west wind. That is not that great. And what that can cause is basically the Gulf of Mexico stays a lot cooler on the surface, and the land area gets really, really hot, especially during the day. Sun's baking on all that asphalt and grass and soil, and it heats up a lot faster than the huge, immense Gulf of Mexico does. And the Gulf of Mexico moves with currents, and long story short, Gulf is cooler than the land. We get a west wind off the cool Gulf, hits the coastline, and potentially explodes into some pretty hefty showers. So that's why the rain chances are a little bit higher over the course of the next probably 2 to 3 days. We're going to see some higher rain chances, especially like mid-morning-ish and through the day, because as that west wind kicks up over the state, there's a greater potential for some of that kind of energy to explode along our Gulf Coast. So watch out for that. And then also, west wind brings with it a lot of that surface water of the Gulf of Mexico gets pushed to the land. And what's naturally occurring in the Gulf of Mexico that we don't like, folks? That beautiful algae, Canera bravis, or however you pronounce that. I'm not good at pronunciation, but it's the red tide organism, the algae. It's naturally occurring, and it mostly occurs offshore. But with strong, pervasive, long-term west winds, it can get pushed inshore. It's a naturally occurring organism, and once it gets pushed inshore, where the water's shallow, it's hot, there's food there from the beautiful pollution from all over, and then the salinity could be right with some of this rain we're getting. If the salinity's right, if the water temperature isn't really, really crazy, and the food is there, and the algae is present, we have the ingredients for a powder keg explosion or bloom of our favorite hated organism, red tide. So definitely a scary thing to see these long periods of west wind. So hopefully it'll change. Hopefully it won't bring with it any dangerous incidents, but the potential is there, and that's what's really scary. It's like throwing a match into a powder keg. You know, it's kind of dangerous. What's up, Capt Mike? Speaking of
how are you?
Dangerous things, you know.
how are you? It's dangerous that I call you and you're talking about red tide, especially with the discharge going to plan for this week at Piney Point.
Yeah, the discharge thing at Piney Point. You've been harping on that a little bit this weekend. You laid off of it on Saturday during our show, but I heard you talking about it today on the Sunday show, and I know you mentioned you talked about it Friday with Jay and Ian on their show. But it's definitely a terrible thing that we've seen at Piney Point now 3 times. That facility has spilled 3 times, 2007, 2011, and again in 2021, I believe. It was last year, yeah? It's April of last year. So 3 times in recent history that facility has dumped, and now what you're referring to is they've reached a critical point with all the rain we've been having, and they're going to dump what they say is storm water back into the bay because it's been built up. But as you're concerned, and as everybody should be concerned, do we believe that it's just stormwater? And I've made this reference in the past. It's like feeding your kids or even feeding yourself. You got a bowl on the counter that you've been using to finger paint with the kids, and it's full of paint. Are you going to wash that out really well and then feed your kids dinner, or are you going to grab a new bowl? You know, you're probably going to grab a new bowl, not use that nasty finger paint bowl, you know, because there's residual residue. And that's basically what they're saying is, oh, don't worry, this nasty pit that was really, really bad before, it's been cleaned out, and now there's just rainwater we're going to release. Seems kind of sketchy.
Yeah, it's not good.
It's
really not good. Nothing about it is good, and unfortunately, we don't trust the powers that be to be doing the right thing. So,
and that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, it really is. It's an issue. But hopefully, you know, the fishing's been really good inshore. Hopefully, you know, we'll get some luck here, and it won't be too bad. Maybe we'll get some rain this week. You know, that west wind, like you were talking about, could cause some showers. Maybe that'll help dilute it some and keep some of that off of us. All we can do, I guess, is pray, and then hopefully we'll, you know, be smart and make the right changes once November comes and they open up the voting ballot booths. We can get after it.
And not even red or blue, guys. Everybody always kind of gets up in arms when we mention this or talk about this, but it's not a red and blue thing. It's a bipartisan thing. It's water quality. It's the environment. It's not political. It's just you should care about your local environment, especially in Florida. If the environment is not great, if we don't have a clean waterway, we're not going to have a viable state. I mean, even the in-town, far away from the coast businesses survive based on the beautiful waters, and that's what brings people to our state and keeps business going and our economy going. That's right. That's the reason you guys don't have income tax. People always complain about traffic's so bad. There's so many people here. Everybody should leave the state. You don't pay income tax in Florida because of tourism, because of our bed tax. So, yeah, it takes a little longer to get places, but tourism and the water economy drives a lot of what we do in Florida and what keeps our tax prices so low. Well, it could be lower, but that's a different show.
Yeah, well, and here's the thing too. You know, it's not a Democrat or Republican thing. But in my opinion, it's you've been in office too damn long thing.
Yeah.
Because we know that a lot of these, you know, lifelong politicians have been there making a killing, making a ton of money, getting paid by these big corporations to shove stuff underneath the rug to avoid having to deal with these issues. That's why I say you vote all them scumbags out.
Yeah,
get all them old career politicians. Because listen, ain't nobody deserves to be in that job forever. Every single person I know is screaming for term limits, and you never hear the politicians mention it. That's because the job pays too well.
Yeah.
Not that money we're paying them, the money they're stealing. So we have to make those changes. We just have to. I mean, at least that's what I'm going to do. And hopefully people will get tired of these issues coming up, and they'll start to, you know, stop worrying about which party you belong to and start to clean this thing up. I mean, it's our money. We made choices. We voted for change in South Florida with the whole thing that Captains for Clean Water has been working on in the Everglades. We approved to spend that money, to spend our money in that direction, and the politicians have been covering up for years because they're getting more money. Yeah, of course not, because they're getting more money from Big Sugar, so they just keep keeping it tied up in red tape. I mean, it's dirty. It is what it is, and anybody who doesn't think so is not paying attention to what's going on, and it's where we're at. And it's what we have to do. You got to vote the scumbags out. You got to let the new people that you're putting in office understand that we're not paying you to be a scumbag. We're paying you to do your job.
Yep.
And that's unfortunately what we've let happen all the way through politics, from our local politicians here all the way up the ladder. There's just people that have been in there too long. So,
amen to that.
You know, make the right changes so we can move in a direction and help ourselves.
Do the right thing.
Yeah.
Now,
clean it up. But I hope.
Fishing though, on the positive side of things, since that bad red tide event, I feel like we've really started to see some momentum in the positive way. We were talking about it today, just the immense amount of whitebait, fry bait, glass minnows. I mean, we even had thread fins under the dock at one point today. We had squid under the dock this morning. We had clouds of mangrove snapper. We're catching baby yellowtail and lane snapper off the dock. I've never, ever in my life seen the immense amount of small, undersized, really quality fish coming to fruition in that estuary, getting flushed out of the pass into the offshore waters. And even snook really have started to proliferate more and more, and we're starting to see a bigger average size. So I'm really feeling positive if we can get through this year without more of these water quality issues coming to fruition, that we should see a healthier and healthier fishery, hopefully.
Yeah, I think some of the areas, I don't know exactly how bad Johns Pass was hurt last year.
Bad. It stayed there longer than anywhere, in my opinion. I think it was hurt worse than anywhere because we had it, dead fish, we had red water, we had the bottom was stained. I mean, it was deathly for, I would say, 6-8 months. Longer, in my opinion. I mean, I think Pinellas Point, Fort DeSoto area, Johns Pass, Bogue Ciega Bay was definitely hit the hardest, but it seemed to persist. What's wrong with Johns Pass, man, is we have Long Bayou right there. And if it gets into the back bay, into that bayou, it just does not leave. It'll just flush out with a strong inbound, but then a strong outbound, it's right back in the pass. We have more dead fish. It's just really hard to get out of there.
But here's the reality. What you're telling me is you're seeing piles and piles of fish at Johns Pass.
No, we can't keep bait alive at the dock. That's the problem.
Still?
No, I mean during that incident for 8 months.
I understand that. But what I'm telling you is that Fort DeSoto still hasn't recovered.
Yeah.
We don't have fish in Fort DeSoto. We still don't have fish on Pinellas Point. The grass and all that stuff is shot out on Pinellas Point. Not that one is worse than the other, because that's really not the issue. The issue is that I don't think a year or even 2 years is going to replenish that fishery on that side of the bay. It will over time if we can somehow get lucky enough to go on a 10-year run here where we don't have any issues. But it's horrible. I mean, the fishing on the Pinellas Point, Fort DeSoto side it's horrible.
Yeah.
And from a guy who fished it hard for 12, 13 years now, it's just almost. I mean, there's some fish there, but it's brutal.
I mean, I remember growing up,
we don't get it.
Fishing that like Meisner all the way to like Terra Verde area, those acres of grass flats. I mean, they were just writhing with life. It was crazy. You could just float out there in a kayak and just crush whatever you wanted to. And yeah, it's definitely not the same. It hasn't been for a while.
Yeah, it's really sad. We're catching some fish. That's the good news. The good news is that there's the bay is spots of it are really lively. So there's still good fish to be caught. We're going to have some funky tides this week. We have to work a little bit as charter captains. It won't be quite as easy as it was last week, and that's just part of the game. The cream always rises to the top. So you'll have a day or two where you get your butt kicked a little bit, and then you'll figure some things out and try some different things, and you'll catch fish again. It's just kind of the way it works. But again, with the triple tail, the redfish are starting to show up. There are, some areas in the bay that are covered with good snook action. So there's a lot to be excited about, even, with the nonsense that's going on. Slower tides, could have rain in the morning. It's going to be an interesting week, but we always look forward to the challenge.
Yeah, slower moving tides and the weather. It's going to definitely be a little bit challenging inshore. But what I always think is that rain lowers that temperature a little bit, gets the water flushing around a little bit, gives you a little stronger outbound tide. And it seems like that influx of fresh water in the limited amount of freshwater fishing I did a lot back in the day, it seemed like a really strong outbound with a lot of that brown, like tannic water, almost kind of like rejuvenated them because it was something a little different, and it seemed to be really active and moving more. Do you see that
levels
too?
Levels off the salinity a little bit. I think I've noticed in some areas where you can run into some issues. Some of the spots over by the Manatee River that I've fished here the last couple of months pretty hard. You'll notice that on some of those mornings when you have a lot of that runoff, your bait won't do well. It won't necessarily die, but you can see it struggling in the live well.
You're running from catching that at like the Skyway where it's more heavy salinity levels, and then you're running up towards the mouth of the Manatee, and then that salinity changes in your live well probably fairly rapidly. And that big 25 bay contender, you're running fast, then all of a sudden you stop and that salinity level changes. You think that's what it is, or you think it has something more to do with it?
I don't know. I mean, I'd like to just think it's the salinity, but it could be some runoff. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about areas that are heavily, you know, populated with, you know, septics and, you know, pesticides and a bunch of different stuff, just brake dust from the roads. I mean, it gets concentrated in those areas. And I think if you have a lot of rain, those areas can get affected a little bit. It's something you need to pay attention to. You know, we're unfortunately, constantly having to keep an eye on the live wells because you just, especially this time of year, you just don't know when you can run through some bad water.
Sure.
You know, I've got the Ingle Cooler little rechargeable bubbler that I just keep in my live well all the time now this time of year because water temps, even though they'll be down, we had good cloud cover today, some midday rains. So, you know, water temp will probably be down to 85 tomorrow, which is better than where it was, close to 90. So it's something you got to watch, you know. And I don't know that the fishing gets any better or any worse. You know, in those areas, the fish that congregate in the Manatee River, the Little Manatee River, the Alpine, all that stuff, they're used to those changes. I mean, they've been dealing with it forever. So, you know, but it'll be an interesting week. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the challenges of it. Again, it's just, you know, it's what we do for a living. So you just got to get up and go tackle the day and see what the good Lord gives you. Yeah.
Amen to that. Well, I appreciate it, brother. And I look forward to seeing you. I won't see you this Saturday. You're off, aren't you?
No, you won't. I am off.
Oh, you enjoy it.
Yep. You'll be in charge. The good news is that means we'll probably have a show the following week. Whenever I'm in there, you never know what could come out of my mouth and get me put in detention for a week or two. So
I promise to not lose our show while you're gone.
You're a good man. It's all good, my friend. Keep up the good work. It's a great show. You do a great job, brother. So I appreciate you letting us have a little time here.
Anytime, man. You have a good one. Enjoy your weekend off, and I'll see you in 2 weeks.
Yep. We'll talk as we move through the week, brother. Be good. Thank you.
All right, man. You too.
See you. See you.
Well, always a pleasure talking to our good friend Capt Mike there on the phone and getting an update from the Inshore side of things. Little bit of good time. I'm sitting here trying to be serious, and I'm reading a comment like, live wells are dangerous for splash. Keep a life jacket on that little buddy. That's hilarious. Love it. Love it, Chris. Throwing shade. Tough crowd tonight. It's awesome. I like you guys. Tuesday night. Yes, you're right. You're right, Chris. Both me and Mike forgot to plug the Tuesday night, August 16th. 6 p.m. Bartow Ford Fishing Conversation. Thanks for reminding us, Chris Hargis. We do have, again, this Tuesday, August 16th at 6 p.m., Capt Mike and myself and Capt Brett Norris of Rock Bottom Charters will be at Bartow Ford talking fishing and enjoying free Cuban food from Silver Ring Cafe, Cuban sandwiches, stuffed potatoes, devil crab, great fishing conversation, raffles, free stuff, gonna be a good time. Then August 21st, 2 p.m., we've got our Tampa Bass Pro Shops conversation. September 13th at 7 p.m., we have our Old Salts fishing conversation at Krabby's on the Pass. Seth Barnes, I love you right now. Seth Barnes said, I've got a couple links of Boudin coming for you. I love it. Boudin is my favorite. Somebody who was watching the show, Cajun Outdoors, brought us a couple links of Boudin from good old Louisiana on his recent visit to Treasure Island, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Love me some Boudin. So whiskey, Boudin, firearms, ammunition, I accept all of that stuff when you come to visit. Appreciate it, guys. All right, so moving on. Let's give away another free trip, and then we're going to get into your questions. Remember, if you have a question you want answered live during the show, text it in. Don't be afraid. Shoot us a text, and make sure to get your question answered live during the show. Before we give away a free trip, want to give a shout out Rick Rogers with another 500 stars. That makes 1,500 tonight. Michael, Jimmy, and the Jimmy family with 1,500. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for that massive amount of stars. Susan Rose Dean with a bunch of them multiple times over. Really appreciate you as well, Susan. And Joe Vito again with some more stars. Thanks, buddy. So let's give away a 5-hour half day for 2 guests this time. 5-hour half day for 2 guests. Let's see who won a 5-hour half day for 2 guests. Lucky winner is Justin Carnes. Congratulations, Justin from Oviedo. That's where I used to live when I went to University of Central Florida, Oviedo on Lake Jessup. Most alligator-populated lake in Florida. And we would go swimming late at night after, yeah, you can imagine what we did in college, but it wasn't smart. It was fun, though. All right, so let's move on. Let's answer our first question here. When is the Hub going to do the all-day trips? The Hub is going to start all-day trips around September 12th, and they are going to go into around the week of October 20-ish. On the Hub. That's when the 10-hour all-day is going to be on the Hub. The Florida fisherman is going to dry dock. That means the friendly fisherman is going to be running all 5-hour half days. We're not going to have any 39 or 44-hour trips during that period. September 9th is our last long-range trip for a while. And then I believe our next long-range trip would be October, I think October, no. I think October 21st is when we come back. So September 9th is our last long-range 39-hour trip. And then I think October 21st is our first one back. So the Hub trips on the all-day are going to be during that period. Rob Merton, appreciate those stars, buddy. And so what that means is we are going to take all the 10-hour all-days on the Hub instead of the friendly fisherman. And we only allow up to 14 people. It's full price. There's no discounts. You do not have any meal package options. And that's it. It's no air-conditioned cabin. There's no food or drink available on the boat. You got to pack it. And no discounts, no birthday discounts, no free trips will be honored. So it's a kind of a unique time of year. Only 14 people can go. So it's kind of like a 10-hour extreme trip. It turns the 10-hour all day into a little bit more like the 12-hour extreme, where it's smaller, faster boat. You're still fishing the same area as our 10-hour trip, except for there's less people on the boat. You get more one-on-one help, smaller boat. It's the same price as our 10-hour all day. It's not any cheaper or any more expensive, but we do not honor any sort of discounts on it. That's kind of the difference. How do you feel about the possible grouper snapper closure being discussed for South Atlantic? So the South Atlantic fishery is just so different from the Gulf. So here in Central West Florida, we are the Gulf of Mexico. And the Gulf of Mexico has a very active charter fleet. And we show up to meetings. There's a very active commercial fleet. We're under moratorium in our commercial and our charter for hire fleets. In the South Atlantic, they're under moratorium in their commercial fleet. There's a very few number of commercial anglers, but they're not really banded together. They don't really communicate well. Their charter fleet is just, not organized whatsoever. So there's really not a lot of cohesiveness. There's not a lot of strong voice from stakeholder groups outside of private recreational advocacy groups. Just the management structure in the South Atlantic differs so very much from the Gulf. Whereas in the Gulf, we've really, really taken some big strides in the charter fleet, in the commercial fleet, to really try innovative management. The Seafire program, the IFQ program, there's a lot of things that maybe people don't like, but have been innovative that have helped fishery access, from private recreational anglers to commercial anglers to charter anglers and all between. And the possible closures they're discussing in the South Atlantic are really due to the lack of really foresight on behalf of anglers, in my opinion. And that's what it's coming down to, is they've been screaming about discard issues and discards and red snapper not being managed, or not able to be managed because of the number of discards, because the season is so short, because it's overfishing, undergoing overfishing, and they can't constrain it because they keep shortening the season. And now the season's so short, it's only open a few days a year, and the rest of the year it's closed. So all these people are going out fishing and catching a fish that's closed, and then they have to throw it back. Those discard numbers being so exponentially high actually fill the quota. And then when you fill the quota, there's payback, and the quota gets smaller. So each year the quota gets full and exceeded, it gets smaller, and then it gets full and exceeded, and then it gets smaller, and the season never opens. So they can't stop this domino effect that's been going on. And so now the agency is like, listen, the only way we can stop discards is just totally stopping fishing. And now you're not allowed to fish, is basically what they're saying. So it's ugly. It's really ugly in the South Atlantic. And it almost seems like you have to hit rock bottom before you can see the writing on the wall and you can make some really tough choices. And that's what happened in the Gulf. You guys got to remember 2014, we were staring down the barrel of a 3-day red snapper season. And some crazy stuff went into play, and it really increased access. The state management started being discussed, the Amendment 40, the sector separation, a lot of stuff that people don't necessarily like, IFQs. All these things started coming to fruition and coming into play that helped access over time. People dogged the IFQ system. People hated sector separation. I did when it was being discussed, because it was leading to an IFQ, and I didn't want that in our charter fleet. Still don't want that. Never will approve of that or vote for it. But long story short, all these different things, all these hard decisions happened, and these big fights occurred, and now we have access. Those fights haven't occurred in the South Atlantic. So it's sad, it sucks, but I think you have to hit rock bottom before you can bounce back in fisheries management and in everything in life. You know, sometimes you got to learn a really hard lesson, like staring down the barrel of a total fishery closure. And that's what they're talking about in the South Atlantic. Like basically St. Augustine to Cape Canaveral, you're not allowed to fish. Not even catch and release. Like, don't even go out there. You're not allowed out there. You cannot fish. That's what they're discussing. It's scary. That is a scary precedence to set. Aside from red grouper, what else is closing? Y'all really want to have a negative show tonight, don't you? What could potentially else close is maybe some really silly closures that just have to do with outdated quotas, which they're updating. Kubera snapper, the Jack complex, deep or midwater snapper, queens, silkies. Those are the three kind of off the wall ones that have these outdated quotas that they're working to update. We actually passed a motion on that, or I proposed and passed a motion on that recently. So with the help of our regional administrator and our Southeast regional staff, they agreed. They're looking at it. So hopefully we don't have those weird closures, but I would imagine we're going to see a triggerfish closure sometime between now and the end of the year. I just don't know when. We talked about that earlier in the show. Besides that, I don't expect anything else to close. Remember, we have amberjack opening September and October, and then triggerfish will probably close between now and the end of the year, and then those three potential weird ones, Kubera, Jack's complex, midwater snapper, could potentially close. I don't know. Let's see, what other questions do we have? Let's try to get one more question. Nick Nieves, appreciate those 700 stars. Brian Eakins, Nick Nieves again with 500. Robert Merton, Rick Rogers, appreciate y'all. Thank you guys. Let's see here. On the 12-hour night fishing trip, what do you commonly catch in November? We generally do really well on mangrove snapper and lane snapper, vermilion snapper. Our last 12-hour night trip did real well, catching a good number of lanes, vermilions, mangroves, porgies, almacos. It was another great trip right behind that full moon, so we're hoping to do that again. And we really offer the 12-hour night trip March through October most heavily. But we are offering it January, February, November, December. But in those outer months, we're only offering it like once a month. Whereas like kind of March through fall, we offer it 3 times a month around the moon phases. So keep that in mind. Let's see. What other questions do we have? How do you feel about the fishery after? How do you feel about our fishery after talking to future Senate person Luna? So Anna Paulina Luna, the other woman, Amanda Mackey, they both have called me, talked to me. They're both interested in the fishery. The Democrat that's running against them, I forget her name. She's very environmentally focused too. So as far as giving you a nonpartisan advice, as far as District 13, which is Pinellas County, for the Senate race or congressional race, sorry. And the Democratic opponent, whose name escapes me, is definitely a really good water quality person. Anna Paulina Luna seems very active, very engaged with fishermen. Amanda Mackey, same thing. Kevin Haslett is another Republican primary. I haven't talked to him, don't know anything about him. He's a lawyer from out of state. Take that with you as you want. But yeah, that's my opinion on the fishery. I mean, Anna is definitely involved. Amanda is definitely involved. Their opponent is also very heavily involved in the environment and cares about the environment. So from that, make your own opinion. But I've made mine. Let's see, what other questions do we have? I think we got time for a few more. Any chance of an extra trip opening on the 29th for the last day of red grouper season? Potentially, but remember, you have to be in before red grouper ends. So a 39-hour trip would have to leave on the 27th and be back on the 29th. But that's a good point. I'll definitely evaluate that. Has the red tide or lack of such been better this year? Yeah, we have not had any red tide, and it's been pretty good. And water quality overall has been pretty solid, and we're hoping that continues. We've had a little bit of issues. We had some weird water quality kill a bunch of black drum up in upper Tampa Bay around the Bayside Bridge, Courtney Campbell Causeway. It was kind of some weird off-the-wall one. We have some water quality issues off of like Sarasota County right now, closing some beaches, but no real serious widespread fish kills, which is pretty good. It's pretty sad. Some beaches are closed right now. You're not allowed in the water. We had some weird shellfish disease kill a bunch of black drum, but I'm saying, yeah, water quality is pretty good. It's pretty sad. It makes me laugh in a very sad way. Are you guys going to bring back deep drop trips? So deep drop trips, we love them. We want to bring them back, but it's one of those things everybody and their brother does it now. We did it before it was cool. Just want to throw that out there. We did 73-hour trips when I was a kid. So we've done a lot of deep dropping. We fished the fort. We fished Pulley Ridge. We fished a lot of deep water stuff, and unfortunately some people have left our company and continue to fish the deep water stuff, and a lot of people do it now. So it's one of those things that we focus on what we're good at, what we do well, and don't run past fish to go find fish. Especially this year, I'm glad that we focused on that because of fuel prices. It's really hard because like a long-range deep drop trip, we're only taking 18 people, and the weather has to be really nice. So we're only making like 18 people happy, and the weather has to be really nice, and we have to cancel a bunch of other people, whereas we can run some shorter trips, and we can stay a little bit closer. Weather doesn't have to be as perfect, and we can make a lot more people happy, and we can accommodate more people. We can accommodate more trips and really make the customer experience better overall. It really stinks to have a 63-hour trip planned, and this happened a lot when we were doing those deep drop trips. These people invest all this money in an electric reel, all this tackle, and they're all excited for a year and a half. They call, and we talk to them for an hour and a half on the phone and get them all dialed in, and then the weather's 4 foot, and we have to cancel. What? It sucks. It's so much work, so much effort is put into planning, scheduling, and logistics for those trips. And then if the weather is at all adverse, we have to cancel, whereas a 39-hour trip laughs at 4 foot. That's pretty nice for a 39-hour, so it just is one of those things that we're not really focused on, because we've done it. We have done it for many years, for decades, and it's one of those things that we're really focused on what we do really well, and we try to make as many people happy as we can. Now we're talking about really focus on getting some new boats, getting some new assets. That might open doors to exploring deep water, long-range trips again, but stay tuned. We'll have more information on that. We need to give away some trips. We're running low on time. We got to give away another 10-hour all-day trip for 2 guests. Let's give away a 10-hour all-day trip for 2 people. Lucky winner is Penny Langston. Congratulations, Penny, on a 10-hour all-day for 2 guests. We still got a 5-hour half day for 2 guests, the Salinity Gear gift pack, and a 39-hour trip to give away. But we're going to sneak in another question before we get into more giveaways. Let's see here. Do you have any trips coming up to target Amberjack? 12-hour extreme, 39-hour, 44 hours. I'll give you a shot at Amberjack September and October. Amberjack bite, not really great. There's not a lot of them out there. That's why they're shortening the season up. So we're going to try for them September and October on 39, 44-hour, 12-hour extreme. 39 or 44-hour would be best. But can I say with confidence we're going to catch a lot of them? No. Next question. Speed round. It's a speed round. No, I answered that one. I'm a scuba diver in the last 3 weekends, diving straight out of Paso Grill, 60, 70 feet. Water visibility is down, and water has been terrible. Is that an algae bloom or rain? Water quality I shouldn't say water quality. Water visibility was down even offshore in 200 foot because rain. This time of year, shrimp. Everybody complained about our small shrimp, but the shrimpers all say after around the end of July, all of a sudden shrimp start getting big. Why? It starts raining like crazy every day. Then water temperatures come down, the shrimp come back into the shore. What's it been doing every day? Raining. It's been raining a ton. A lot of rain cools things down. Water temperatures come down a little bit inshore, and it also flushes a lot of stuff out. And then we have these hard full moon outbound tides. The outbound tide has been smoking for 5 days now. And that pushes a lot of that rain, low salinity water offshore. It's natural to get these big pushes of this brown, dark green water pretty far offshore right now because of the time of year and the increased rain. Now, does that water, is it perfectly clean? Is there no pollution in it or runoff in it? Probably not. It's probably not 100% clean, but it's inshore bayou water. It's high freshwater content, low salinity, and it's gonna be ugly colored. It's gonna be brownish. Go up to the St. Johns River, it's like puke brown all the time. Go to any river, anywhere, it's tannic acid from leaves. That's what kind of creates it, and just fresh water into salt water, it's just ugly. Let's see here. When are you and Captain Mike gonna go bank fishing, freshwater fishing? I've been bank fishing recently with my son for bass and caught a couple nice bass in a pond that we were not supposed to be in. So I didn't take any photos because I was like, come on, son, let's cast the lure. All right, we caught one. Let's go. But nothing bad happened. I taught my son a good lesson that fences mean good fishing. Let's see. What other question? We're probably out of question time tonight. We're going to start wrapping things up here. So want to make sure we get our time to make some announcements. Again, don't forget, August 16th, this Tuesday at Bartow Ford, 6 p.m. You don't want to miss out the fishing conversation. Also, August 21st, 2 p.m. at the Tampa Bass Pro Shops. September 13th, 7 p.m. at Krabby's on the Pass for the Old Salts fishing conversation. You don't want to miss that as well. Fletcher's Custom Rods should be showing up any day. We got 5 of them. We sold almost all of our Fletcher's Custom Rods. Should be getting another order. Still got plenty of those Bull Bay Custom Rods. We've got a huge line of Jig Pro, Oni Works, Saurus, NLO, Johnny's Jigs, and now we're getting Ocean's Legacy and another one I forget, Cast. So 7 different brands of slow pitch jigs. We've got Van Fook and Johnny Jigs, assist hooks, split rings, swivels. We got it all, SPJ wise, the reels, the rods. We are a slow pitch jigging specialty store now. I would say probably the largest selection of slow pitch gear in Pinellas County. Fisherman's Hut is the specialty place just south of us, about an hour and a half, but we're definitely right behind them. Much smaller footprint up to the north. And we got it all slow pitch jigging wise. So come by our shop. Check us out online. Definitely a lot of good stuff there. And I would love to chat slow pitch jigging sometime if you want to stop by the shop and pick some stuff up. Also, Supporters After Show starts 9:55. So hopefully you'll join us for our Supporters After Show. Want to give a shout out to our friends at Gator Gyms Tackle, 3301 Pinellas Point Drive South in St. Pete. If you're a guide, if you're a fishing guide, if you know a fishing guide, make sure you tell them to go to Gator Gyms November 1st at 6 p.m. for the Florida Guides Association meeting. Florida Guides Association, November 1st, 6 p.m., Gator Gyms. If you're not a guide, go see Gator Gyms anytime. Tell them Hubbard's Marina sent you. You won't regret it. Also, a big shout out to our other friends and sponsors at Real Animals, Garmin Electronics, Yamaha Outboards, Bass Pro Shops, Ingle Coolers, Salt Strong, Aquatic Nutrition, Sport Fishing Chums. And don't forget to check out our TikTok, Pinterest, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, Snapchat, Facebook, Nextdoor app, Fishbrain, Waypoint TV, Trovo, and Twitch. And thank you again for everybody who sent stars. Super big support. Really, really appreciate you guys. Also want to give a shout out to supporters. This is all not possible without our supporters group. We look forward to seeing you for the Supporters After Show. Now, let's give away some stuff. The Salinity Gear Gift Pack. Salinity Gear Gift Pack. Let's see who the lucky winner is of the Salinity Gear Gift Pack. Remember, you got 5 minutes to claim it by texting us at the phone number on screen. LaShonda Brown, congratulations for that Salinity Gear Gift Pack. Make sure you send us your full home address, whether you want a hooded or non-hooded performance wear shirt, and what size. Text it to that phone number right there. We'll get that Salinity Gear Gift Pack mailed out to you. Next thing we're going to give away is our second 5-hour half day for 2 guests. 5-hour half day for 2 guests. Lucky winner is Susan Bennett. Susan Bennett, congratulations for winning that 5-hour half day for 2 guests. 5-hour half day for 2 guests, Susan. Remember, you got 5 minutes or less to claim it. Make sure you do so. Your full home address. Last free thing of the night, guys. The 39-hour trip for 1 person. Remember, you have had to watch the show live the whole time. Some people try to cheat the system, but it only works if you've watched the whole show. If you don't watch the whole show, you're not entered to win. You got to watch the whole show live. You got to comment 1 time at some point during the show, but you have to have been tuned in the whole time. You have to comment once, and you got to watch live. That's how you win. Want to remind everybody again, but let's see who won the 39-hour trip for one lucky winner. Lucky winner of the 39-hour is John Dykes. Congratulations, buddy, from Georgia. You're the big winner tonight, John. Second big winner tonight. We give away 2 39 hours. We appreciate all of you guys. So appreciate you tuning in, watching. We'll see you August 16th at 6 p.m. at Bartow Ford. We'll see you August 21st, 2 p.m. at Bass Pro Shops Tampa. We'll see you September 13th, 7 p.m. Krabby's on the Pass. All 3 in-person fishing conversations. We'll see you every night right here, 8:30 p.m. Don't forget, if you're too busy to go fishing, you're just too darn busy. Hopefully we'll see you for the Supporters After Show, 9:55 p.m. If you're not a supporter already, check out the link we're going to drop into the conversation right now. You can become a supporter tonight. It's only $4.99 a month. You got a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff, a little bit more communication, and you don't want to miss out on the supporters. The supporters voted for this. They picked this. Well, they picked one with a liquor glass, but we're going to make that the supporter shirt. So, supporters, surprise, your second choice won, because we wanted to keep it a little bit more PC, but I really love our supporters that they chose a whiskey glass. That just shows you guys are like me, and I love y'all. So, the whiskey glass off the hook logo is going to be a shirt coming soon. This logo is going to be on the front of the shirt. The whiskey glass is going to be on the back. We're going to have a supporters discount on that. If you're in the supporters group, we're going to have some other supporters free stuff coming up soon. Don't forget to join the Supporters After Show, 9:55 p.m. if you're a part of the supporters group. Oh, Josh is going to show you a sneak peek. This is what the supporters voted for as our new logo. But this doesn't really work as a logo on the wall, guys. But it does work as a logo for a t-shirt. I really like that logo. It would make a really cool bumper sticker as well. Our friends at Salinity Gear will hook us up with that bumper sticker. The grouper swimming in the whiskey glass. So awesome. Yeah, and these were the other choices. But if you're a supporter, you got the vote, and you spoke loudly A as the winner. So congratulations, supporters. Appreciate y'all helping me out and choosing a logo. Appreciate Josh redesigning our studio and spending so much time hanging that TV. I know it took him a long time. Really took him a long time to build and hang that logo, but great job, buddy. Really good masonry work on that wall. I know you worked hard this week.
I can't feel me fingers.
We'll see you guys 9:55 for the supporter show. We'll see everybody else next week. Don't forget, if you're too busy to go fishing, you're just too darn busy.